Well, we're here. Let's see if, let me know if anybody can hear. Well, we don't have anybody here yet. So anyway, this is the first live Q&A, first of many, I hope, that we get to do here on TacMed TV. I'm starting to think that this might be something that I move more toward with the way things are going. Here, we can go ahead and shut that off. So anyway, hoping that this is something we can do moving forward. I think this would be kind of interesting because I'm starting to get some more questions and things like that. And I think this might be a better way. I still need the comments and everything on the videos, of course, but it would be nice to be able to interact with you guys in a live environment via the computer. It seems like since all this mess started with the SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, a lot of stuff has been taking place on the computer. I know meetings are happening with different meeting software and things like that. So I just thought this might be something that we could do to where we can kind of interact. Just waiting for some people to show up. And so in the meantime, one of the questions that I did get, and let me bring it back up here because my phone shuts off. Excuse me. 2 weeks ago, one of the viewers, Derek Atkins, Derek, I hope you show up for the video. What steps should I take if I am an RN and want to become a SWAT medic? Well, and he'd asked another question on a different video, said, can he be a SWAT medic if he's a registered nurse? And the answer is absolutely yes. Jim Williams, who you guys know from this channel, is also a SWAT, one of my SWAT medics on our team. He's also a registered nurse. So yeah, it's absolutely something that you can do. One of the biggest things that I would suggest, Derek, is to go and find yourself an EMT class. Take that EMT class because that'll get you familiar with the tools that's going to be available to you to use in some point or another during your SWAT medic career. These are things that you need to know, and it helps. Just simple things like, Sager splints or various other traction splints, different splinting materials, being able to think outside the box and look and improvise for splinting materials, because as a SWAT medic, you can only carry so much stuff. But that'll help you get that brain in that mode to where you start to think about improvising. And I don't know how long you've been an RN. I don't know what your background is as an RN. I know you've mentioned something, I think, in the comment about working in the emergency department. But so I don't know how long you've been an RN. I don't know what else you've done, what else has transpired there. But anywho, take an EMT class would be my first thing to tell you. The other thing I would definitely have you do, if you haven't already done like a TNCC course, do that. That's going to be a little bit more geared towards in-hospital type stuff. So if you can find either a TECC or even TC3, I'm not a huge fan of TC3, but it does have its place and it has great information in it. And for the civilian world, the TC3 is the military version of TECC or PHTLS. That was the other thing I was going to advise you. Find a PHTLS course or an ITLS course and get that pre-hospital training, pre-hospital trauma training. And then once you've done that, or before you do that, however you want to look at it, go check out a SWAT school. Of course, if you saw the video, which I think that was the video you on, that video is the one choosing a tactical medicine school. I went to the International School of Tactical Medicine out in California. Back before it was the International School of Tactical Medicine out in California, it was the Heckler and Kock International Training Division Tactical Medicine course. All right, back then it was a 1-week course. This was in 2002, folks. So it's been a while since I've been to that course. 2002, went through that, and it's a SWAT school for medics, for paramedics, EMTs, RNs, PAs, nurse practitioners, physicians. I know in my class was law enforcement heavy at the EMT level. There was a lot of the law enforcement in there, but there were also several physicians and several paramedics in there too. I don't remember any RNs, PAs, or nurse practitioners being in the class, but that was what the class makeup was. The class was taught by physicians that are also law enforcement. Dr. Lawrence High School is the guy that created that program. He's the guy that's running the International School of Tactical Medicine. And the doctors, the physicians are still teaching that course. It's great information. That would be something I would check into and get into SWAT school, because especially that one, that's the one that kind of shaped me into realizing that SWAT medicine is a whole lot more than just sitting around waiting for somebody to get hurt, somebody to get shot, something like that. There's a lot more into it, a lot more to do with SWAT medicine and tactical medicine than just the trauma part of it, the ballistic trauma. You've got force health protection, nutrition, making sure they stay hydrated. There's some podiatry involved in there. There's canine medicine sometimes involved in there if your team's working with canine. A lot of stuff goes into this. Okay, so it's not something that you just pick up overnight. It's something that you go to this school and you learn this, or you go to this school and you learn that. And then once you have that foundation of the basic class, then you start looking around. Like right now, I'm looking to get my guys in and do some podiatry. You know, if we can't stay on our feet, if we've got foot problems, if we've not got the proper footwear, if we're not taking care of our feet, we're not going to be effective. So that's something I'm looking at right now. And when I get that done, that's actually going to be a whole video unto itself on podiatry. So anyway, looks like we've got some people showing up now. I hope it's, hey, holler at me. So shoot me a text if you've got a question, anything, well, almost anything, in case one of these people is Jim Williams, because he'll ask me something about the wind speed velocity of a laden swallow. And of course, the proper reply to that is African or European. I hope you all got that joke. If not, I am really, really old. So anyway, looks like we've got some people showing up. You know, if anybody wants to chime in with anything, please do. And we'll get the ball rolling on this. This is, like I said, this is something that I've wanted to do. And I think this is something that, again, gives us the opportunity to talk to each other. You know, I love it when you guys put the comments in the section there, in the comment section, when you write to me, and to actually take the time to do that. I appreciate that a lot. And so this is an opportunity just to ask your question and get an answer right now for it. And like I said, we'll stick around here and see if anybody wants to chime in and ask a question. I'm trying to keep an eye over here on the little box and see if anybody says anything. But if not, you know, we'll roll with that. I mean, you guys have seen my videos before. You know, I can ramble. So I'm good at rambling. But if this video ends up being nothing but me rambling, I'm not going to list it, and it won't be something that'll be seen for future view. So, and anyway, back to Derek's question earlier that I was talking about. I'm actually going to do another video answering his question. I'm actually going to bring Jim Williams in to come answer that question, since he is an RN and he's done almost as many call outs as I have. He's kind of slacked off a little bit here lately, but still a wealth of resource information. His brain is just so freaking huge. He carries so much information in there. He's just a great resource, and he's a great medic to have out there with us when we're doing this stuff, because he thinks of things that I don't sometimes think of, and that's always good. So you want to surround yourself when you're on your team, you want to surround yourself with good people, and Jim is definitely one of those. He's good people. So I'm going to bring him in to do that video to answer Derek's question more directly and with more detail, because to be honest, I'm not an RN, so I don't know what the gap is between registered nursing and tactical medicine. So I'm going to let Jim fill that in. Also, talking about Jim, it's one of those things that if you all haven't checked out his channel, it's EMT Boot Camp here on YouTube. Go check that out, especially if you're looking at getting into EMT school or you're in EMT school. He's going to have some resource stuff for you over there that you can check out. And again, that's EMT Boot Camp. Trying to think what else we can talk about till somebody asks a question. So, but this is the first one of these. Hopefully we'll be able to do some more. So I don't expect a lot of questions. I'm waiting for somebody that I know to get on here and start messing with me, because I've kind of been ready for that. Jim actually said he was going to do that today. So who knows? He may chime in with something, what were the dog's name on the emergency series? You only remember one. So I'm a boot when it comes to that. So anywho, looks like we've got 3 people in the room here with us. Thank you all for coming by. I appreciate it. If you've got a question or anything, throw it out there. Love to hear what's on your mind. So anywho, I figured it would kind of be like this. So kind of flounder a little bit. May have been a little bit too hopeful of making it an hour long a block here, but we'll try to go for the whole hour just in case people didn't realize that it was a 12 o'clock Central Standard Time start. So somebody may come in late. Somebody may have already been and they've been looking for it and it didn't happen. So I hope that's not the case. So anywho, we'll just see what happens. You 3 folks that are in the room, and this is, by the way, if you can't tell, this is the first time I've done the live stream. So there's all these neat little buttons over here. I'm going to try to check out. I don't know what they do. What is these? I don't know, and I'm scared to push it. Let's see what's going on over here. Nothing. Participants. Okay. Let's see. So we'll put that out there. Any questions? Even if it's about an older video, if you've got a question about one of the older videos I did, let me know. If you've got a question about just anything that I've not covered in any of my videos, that's something that you'd like to discuss or give your opinion on. That's what this whole channel was kind of started. This is what it's about. The early videos, even in the newer videos that I've done, it's been one of those things where I want us to be a community, because there's not a lot of us around here that practice this type of medicine, in the civilian world. All right. So I want us to be a community. I want us to share information with each other and to be able to learn from each other's experiences. Now, of course, we don't want to put anything that would jeopardize, operational security, or, we don't want to discuss tactics. We don't want to discuss anything that somebody could use against us in our job. So anything about treatment methods. Oh, well, hey, there we go. Yeah, you all will probably recognize that name. Bless her heart. That's my wife. Good job. I'm actually kind of tickled that she's watching. That's how she asked, how would you recommend handling the situation as a medic taking care of the police in today's setting? Whew. Well, in today's setting, I'm not going to try to get political here, but it's one of those things where you just do what you got to do. Do the best you can with what you've got. A lot of your riot stuff that's going on right now is done by your line officers. So it's not really a tactical team role. I know in some places they've been using the tactical team and the medics are there. And it's one of those things where, make sure you understand what your role is as a medic. Like with me, if our team that we primarily work with was faced with this situation, we get the team activation, the team's going out and, providing crowd control. We're going to be set up somewhere in the area. We're probably not going to be right there in the line with them because that's not our job. That's not our role. So what we would do in this situation is we would set up a place, and with multiple medics on our team, we can set up multiple sites, and we would kind of set up like a little casualty collection point. And if anybody did get hurt, then the officers can bring them back to us, and we can work in that environment, and then we can work to get that patient, if needed, evacuated to the hospital emergency department. It's one of those things that's going to be very fluid. It depends on what your role specifically is. If you're an operator that is also tasked with being the medic, well, then if you're an operator, you're going to be out there with the frontline police officers, okay? You're going to be out there doing the frontline stuff. So it just depends. Like I said, again, in my role, I'm going to be set back somewhere, and if somebody gets hurt, they're going to bring them to me, and then I'll take it from there and arrange for transport out if that's how it needs to happen, if there is a transport that needs to be done. So that's just one of the ways that you can do that. Again, everything in tactical medicine is just completely and totally fluid, okay? Everything, there's not a set way really to do anything. It's all determined by the situation itself and how you're going to react to that situation. So with that in mind, you always have to be kind of wargaming situations. When you're at training with your team and you're working through scenarios, think about all those what ifs, okay? If that, what if it to death, okay? Take the time to actually do that and work your way through the problem. Create the problem in your mind in training, and then work your way through it. And then once you kind of formulated, hey, I think we can do it this way, bring it up to the team and say, hey, let's work on this. What if this was to happen? Hey, guys, what if this was to happen? We go in here and this happens. How are we going to manage that? And then start to work that direction. It's no different. I know when we first started working with the team and really started pushing that they carry their own IFAC kits, individual first aid kits with tourniquets and stuff, and then teaching them and that initial training where we were doing room entries, and I was saying, okay, well, what happens if one of these guys takes a round when they go through the door? Okay, what happens if they get 3 rooms deep in this place and somebody goes down? How are we going to handle that? So really started pushing with the officers. Okay, let's get the tourniquets out and train. And there was a little reluctance at first, not because they didn't see the value in it. It's because, hey, we're here to do this. We want to train on this. And I think there's a little bit of not wanting to bring bad juju on you, not wanting to bring, the evil spirits around. If you start planning for this could happen, that kind of thing. So I think that kind of maybe played into it a little bit. I'm not really sure. But once we really started doing it, and when new guys would come on the team and we're working with this stuff, they fell right in. And now everybody, it's just part of training. We go through a door, somebody, one of the instructors whoever's leading that day may say, tap them on the shoulder, say, okay, you're down. You're hit. You're down. You just lost use of your leg. All right. And then that officer has to go through his immediate action drill. Is he in a gunfight? Does he need to throw bullets back? Or does he need to scoot out of the way and let the other guys in to take care of that threat? How is that going to work? They need to work through that in their minds, okay? It's like I tell my guys all the time that this is not, special operations, tactical police units. It's not all about the strength that you bring. It's about the brain that you have. That's the best tool that you have in this environment is your brain, and you need to be able to think clearly and critical think your way out of problems. All right, so the time to do that, again, is in training. So now, like I said, when we do any type of exercise, especially if we're doing sim rounds, we've got them, they do blood sweeps on each other now. Once the shooting stopped, you check yourself, you do the And that's a whole nother video too that I could go into, but you do the blood sweep. You've got your gun out and you take that non-dominant hand and groin, hold up to your hand, groin, hold up to your hand. You don't have to take your eye off the target. You're still watching that threat, but you'll be able to see if there's blood on your hand, in your periphery. All right. Groin, hand, 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 neck, hand, neck, hand. And you can look at that. All right. And you're still on target. Okay. So we've done that. And then we also teach them to, like I said earlier, a buddy sweep, a blood sweep by your buddy. Okay. You're sitting there handed, you've got the target down, you've got the target neutralized, and you're standing there making sure that that target is neutralized. Then your buddy can come up and give a quick sweep and make sure. And then because sometimes, adrenaline gets to pumping high, there have been instances where people didn't know they were hit. Okay. So this is why we teach them to do that. And they've gotten really good at it. It's the guys that I work with are top notch, true professionals. And it's just really a joy to work with them because they are open-minded. They see the benefit of the medics being there and what we bring to that table to make sure that they can safely, as safe as possible anyway, safely execute their missions. And it's just a joy to work with them. So anyway, so that kind of how that goes. The in today's setting, the other thing, and this is another thing to the question that we had. Keep your head on a swivel, okay? You folks that watch this channel that are still on the street working the truck, working your shift, keep your head on a swivel. A lot of our uniforms, look similar, okay? We wear a lot of places we wear a button-up shirt. It might be a blue shirt, it might be a white shirt, it might be whatever, but we wear uniforms. And sometimes the mob mentality doesn't distinguish between EMS and police. All right. So you can become a target very quickly yourself. I forget who it was that was telling me, it may have been New York. Somebody knows, chime in on that and let me know. Police have been having a real hard time up there. Being assaulted and everything, and they're not getting a lot of support from their local government, the mayor and stuff. But then that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna get political, but it seemed like during one of those there was also a paramedic that got hit too. I don't know if it was one of the hospital services up there, if it was FDNY or who it was, but we're out there too. We're out there with them too. I had a run the other day where we got out on a scene. It was a shots fired call, and we roll up, and we didn't know what we were rolling into. The information wasn't passed along to us, but we rolled up into about 8 or 9 police cars, blue lights flashing, cops everywhere, and several of them were some of my guys that I recognize. So I get out. They come up to me and say, "Okay, what's going on?" They kind of give me the heads up. Well, it's not a hot zone at this point because they've kind of got everything under control, but there's still a lot of yelling and stuff going on. So it's a little bit warm. So we ended up getting our patient getting out of there, just because you just never know. If you get that little voice in the back of your head that's saying, "Hey, something's not right, something doesn't feel quite right," then get your patient beat feet out of there. All right. There's no sense of sticking around. The ambulances have wheels for a reason. It's, so we can pick our patient up and we can transport. Okay, that's the job. Transport them to the hospital and get them to the hospital, preferably alive. That's always the goal. All right, do what you can, and that's my philosophy. So anyway, be careful, be safe. Make sure you're watching over your shoulder. Make sure you're watching your partner's back. Talk to your partner, make sure they're watching your back, because not every call we go on has the police on it. All right. Not every call we go on has first responders that are there before you get there. All right. So you have to take your own safety. It's your responsibility. Okay. For you and your crew, you make sure that you're doing what you need to do to mitigate any risks. and stay safe. Okay, that's the biggest thing I can tell you. So, look like we've got 4 people in the house now. So, anybody got any more questions? That would be outstanding. Or else I can keep on kind of rambling. That's okay too. So, one of the things, some of the video ideas I've got coming up, we'll shift gears here a little bit and talk about some of the video ideas I've got coming up. The body armor video I did, you guys seem to like that. Excuse me. And I guess it probably plays into the times with everything that's been going on here recently. It's probably was a good topic to hit. So I've got some more stuff like that planned. I've actually got one here. Let me reach down here and grab it. I've got a backpack that I'm actually going to do a video on that I picked up a while back. And let me get it zipped up here. I wasn't planning on using it as a prop for this. So, but anyway, this backpack here, it's the Nick Star or NC Star, however you want to pronounce that. I'm not sure of the model, which model this is, if it's like a day pack or 3-day pack or what it's called. But this is one of the best packs that I've ever utilized. I absolutely love it. The interesting thing about this is that it's got a bulletproof panel in the back. Okay, so that's one of the topics I'm going to cover is this bag specifically, and then I'm going to look at doing some bulletproof backpack kind of stuff, especially since we're getting ready to go back to school, hopefully. And that's all I'll say about that. But hopefully, the kids are going to be going back to school. And, with that, we still have other things going on in the world too. So we'll do a video on bulletproof backpacks and their benefits, maybe even some of their uses, so on and so forth. So anyway, that's something I've got coming up. Of course, the Jim Williams video talking about, RN to Tactical Medic thing. We're going to talk about that. I want to do a podiatry video. We're going to talk about foot care because I think that's something that's very, very important. It's become more, it's a topic that's kind of come up to me more recently as just something, we not that we've had anything specific happen or anything like that, but it's something that I thought, man, that's something we need to cover, and I'm ashamed of myself for not covering it sooner. So we're going to do some podiatry stuff. Working on getting with an athletic trainer or a physical therapist and working on some wrapping, like knees, ankles, that kind of thing. You get a twisted knee or a twisted ankle on a call out or even during training. What's the best way to manage that, especially if it's on a call out, if it's on a mission. How are we going to wrap that ankle to where we can keep that operator in the fight? Or is it too badly sprained or possibly broken and we can't put them back in the fight? We've got to get them out. So some different assessment techniques to determine whether or not it's something that can be wrapped and move forward with the mission, or if it needs to be splinted and evacuated out. So that's another video I'm working on, trying to get some resources in to do that. Again, John Hembest, my best friend, he was best man in my wedding last year. Oh yeah, by the way, got the 1 year anniversary. It's awesome, man. Best year of my life, being married to her. And we've got another question. Do you recommend having a go bag, and what should you carry in it? There was a time when I really, really was big on the go bag and was thinking, that's something that we need to have. You need to have that bug out bag, and you need to roll with it. Really anymore, I just don't know if that's going to be a truly viable option. I think it's something that you should have in your vehicle that maybe has some certain, survival supplies. Have a blanket, maybe have an MRE in there. maybe a change of clothes, warmer clothes, especially in the wintertime. I think that's something that you should have in there. But as far as a straight up go bag, I'm kind of on the fence about that nowadays because I just don't know with the way things are going right now and what some of the past um, things that we have looked at that could come to pass where preppers were looking at stuff like that. I just don't know. I need to do some more research on that. At one time, absolutely. My go bag is sitting right over there right now. I haven't gone through it in a while, but in that go bag, it's a large Alice pack. I've got what is in there? That's a good question. So anyway, I've got a poncho liner in there to wrap up with, for warmth. I've got several large contractor trash bags in there where I can use those. It's the heavy plastic trash bags to where I can use those and spread those out if I need to make a quick shelter, to try to waterproof a little something. I've got a change of boots in there. I've got a change of clothing, several extra pairs of wool socks, even for the summertime, because wool gives you a nice cushion. And if they get wet, wool will still keep your feet warm. Okay. Even if they get wet, cotton will not do that. Cotton will help you cool off a lot faster. So the whole deal with the go bags, though, the other stuff I carried in there, I think I've got a couple of MREs, maybe a little bit of canned stuff. That's all such stuff towards the top that I can get to relatively easy, open it, and get it done over with. I also carry a Bible. I also carry a copy of the Constitution. Everybody should carry a copy of the Constitution, and I mean a paper copy, not just a copy on your phone. But 2 quarts of water, water carrying capability you should always have. Trying to think what else. Just simple things. I've got a deck of cards in there. Something to keep your mind occupied if there's something that you can't. Technology goes down. You don't have technology anymore to utilize. So those are things that you can have in there. It's a custom tailored thing to what needs to be in there. My actual go bag, I don't think has any ammo in it. I don't think I carry any ammo in there. There might be one box of ammo in there, but my ammo's set up in a different bag and a different way to carry along with the go bag. So, that's a whole different thing. So, the go bag things, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if that's a viable thing anymore. I'll think on that a little bit more. Maybe that'll be a video later we can talk about. Now we've got, what should you carry in your vehicle for a survival kit? Well, pretty much a lot of the same stuff I just mentioned, especially in the wintertime. You should always have, extra socks. You should have footwear, heavy footwear, not just regular shoes, but you should have some type of heavy footwear, like a boot, a hiking boot, or something of that nature. That can help protect your feet against the environment. You should also have probably, for me, it's an extra change of clothes, and I'm talking something with long sleeves and pants. So you want to have something that can cover you up. I always carry an extra jacket, or actually it's not even a jacket, it's a coat. Make sure that in the wintertime I carry an extra coat, extra blankets, things of that nature. You should also have a small shovel in case you need to try to dig your vehicle out. You should have extra water, extra food, in the shape of an MRE or just a small box with some canned goods in it, in case you get stuck in your vehicle and you're going to be there for a little while. Then the other things that you should have in there, you should have a small, small toolkit with socket wrenches, ended wrenches, box end wrenches, screwdrivers, things of that nature. You should have jumper cables. These are things that you should have in your vehicle because you just never know. It's just something to have there. Road flares are also another good thing. I'm not a big fan of the actual flare itself, but there are LED lights now that are just as bright as the flares and a lot less dangerous. Those are things to have, so keep that in mind. And that may be a whole nother video too. So anywho, like I said, we've been here for 35 minutes and 10 seconds now, and this has actually been kind of fun, just because I can ramble. Should medics go through a refresher course after completing SWAT school for getting any new information? Yeah, it kind of falls upon the medic themselves to do that refresher. As far as the patient care stuff, yeah, you need to be going through, you need to keep your ITLS or PHTLS active. Make sure you keep that certification up to date. That's an every 2-year thing. So make sure you're going through your classes. Obviously, your CPR, your BLS stuff, you've got to go through. Make sure you keep that card with you. You've got to keep that certification up. Paramedics, you've got to keep your ACLS up. Make sure you do that. You got to have it to be a paramedic. Keep your ACLS up. PALS, or for me, it's more PEP, or PALS, or what was the other one? EPC, I think, Emergency Pediatrics for pre-hospital. I can't remember. There's several different pre-hospital pediatric courses out there. PALS and PEP are the two big ones. Keep those up to date. TC3, I think, is an every 3-year thing. It seems like mine's coming up. I'm gonna have to find another TC3 class to go through to keep mine up, my certification up with that. Your basic medical courses, folks. We all have to have CEUs. Make sure you're keeping your CEUs up, because the only real difference between tactical medicine and EMS street medicine, or medicine that you're doing in the emergency department, is the environment in which you're doing it in. If you're in an austere environment, you're on a SWAT call out, things are a little bit different. You have to learn how to apply that medicine, but the medicine still holds true. All right. For, difficulty breathing, we're still going to try to give them oxygen. We're going to evacuate them from whatever situation we're in where it's not safe to do patient care. We're still going to give them oxygen. We're still going to, probably we're going to start an IV. We're going to look at giving Medrol for that. You're going to follow your local protocols. If they need a breathing treatment, we're going to give them a breathing treatment. So the medicine, you have to stay current on your medicine. So make sure you keep your certifications up to date, and make sure that you look for extra classes like AMLS. This is one, and forgive me, I can't specifically remember the name, but it's the Geriatric Medical Life Support. I think it used to be called GEMS, Geriatric Emergency Medical Support, or medic. I can't remember what it was. If Jim Williams was here, he could tell you exactly what the acronym was. But there's a class specifically for geriatrics. If you're a critical care paramedic or a critical care RN doing this job, make sure you keep all your critical care stuff up. Okay. One of the biggest things, and this is kind of not necessarily, the refresher course stuff, but one of the biggest things that kind of helped me with the SWAT medicine side of things, the tactical medicine side of things, was the community paramedic class that I went through. And again, I'm going to try to get John in here to do an interview, and we're going to talk about, because he's been doing it. He went to the course too. And has been doing that job. I'm still riding the truck, but he's been doing the job of the community paramedic and going out and seeing patients and everything. So he's got a little bit better handle on it than I do. Even though we went through the same class, he's actually been doing the job. So street cred, props to him. So that's one of the things that really helped me, because we went into some chronic disease management stuff. And that really helps when you start looking at force health protection. All right. For your team, if you're not looking at your guys and talking to them about, and we may have just lost our connection. It says my connection's unstable. We're trying to come back. Okay, so maybe we're still good. But one of the things that we do in our team to take care of our guys is twice a year they have to qualify. They have to do their qualifications. All right, that's the ops course, their shooting, and their PFT. All right, their physical fitness stuff. Have to do that twice a year. every 6 months. So every 6 months we get together, and we get together on those days, and we sit down with them, and we have a form that they fill out. It's an emergency medical information form, and they fill that form out. It's got the demographic information on it. It's got allergies, medications, any past medical history you have, and we answer questions for them. We take their vital signs, and we get a baseline set of vital signs. And we try to do, if we've got it available that day, we'll try to do a 12-lead EKG on them. And of course, all of these folks, they're tip-top shape, but they may have some type of chronic illness like hypertension that they're dealing with that they take medication for. Well, the CP course really helped me understand a lot more about that, because in EMS and paramedic school, yeah, you learn about hypertension and what it is and so on and everything. But in the CP course and the community paramedic course, I learned a lot more about it. We went more into to what happens with the body with hypertension, how it's managed, what medications are used to manage it, and so on and so forth. Same thing with congestive heart failure or COPD, diabetes, things like that you need to know, because you may have a diabetic that works on your team. Okay, you need to understand that it's not always the best thing in the world if their sugar gets low to give them an entire 25 grams of D50, okay, or even 12.5 grams of D50, because that shoots their sugar way up. And now we've got to manage it and get it back to where they can manage it, where it can be more normal. So that can really play havoc. So that's an understanding that you need to know. And the CP course helped me with that tremendously. Now, as far as the other stuff to stay fresh with the SWAT, after completing SWAT school and working with your team, the other things that you need to stay fresh are going to be taking place during your team trainings. Okay, that's your building entries, breaching. Make sure you're doing continuing education for your guys, teaching them the medical stuff. Make sure you're teaching them how to use the tourniquets. Make sure you're teaching them how to use the chest seals, how to use the nasal airways. If they want to learn it, and your medical director with it, and they want to learn how to do needle chest decompressions, teach them how to do that. You know, if the commander's okay with it and the medical director's okay with it, and it's only going to be used within that team, that's something for you to work out. If that's what they want to do, custom tailor this stuff to your team, okay? But that training is going to take place on that refresher stuff is going to take place with your team, okay? The team I work with, we've got a company that comes in that does sustainment training for us, okay? It's outside instructors that have years of background in military and police special operations, and they are doing our sustainment training, okay? So it's constantly, we're constantly refreshing. Every training day is a refresher course. So, and then we've got the roles of the community paramedic the same in each state. And right now, no, they're not. Each state does something different. Even within that state, each program can do something different. The program that I have experience with, where I work and where John actually does the job, they do, like I said, the chronic disease stuff, kind of focus on CHF, COPD, and cardiac patients, heart patients, open heart patients. So they kind of, and STEMI patients that have had MI, they kind of focus on those folks right there. In other locales, they use them. They use the community paramedics in a 911 role to go out and make a determination of the severity of the call and say, okay, yeah, you've got a blister on your foot. Your foot's hurting. You really don't need to go to the ER for that. But I tell you what we'll do. We're going to send you over here to an urgent care or a quick clinic or something like that. You can go there. So to try to cut down on overuse of the emergency departments. In some places, they'll use them in an outreach role to where they work with the homeless populations and bring medicine to those folks that are less fortunate. There's a lot of things that you can do with the CP stuff, and I apologize, I wasn't really prepared to talk a whole lot about community paramedicine stuff today, but we kind of went that direction with some of the things that we've been talking about. So there's just the biggest thing, and I'll Hennepin Tech in Minnesota is where I did my CP training, my community paramedic training. That was the course I went through. Takes a semester and a half, and the half is doing the clinical ride time after that course. So you actually get some OJT, some on-the-job training with that, and then you spend time with like what I had to do with my clinical hours is I had to spend so much time with my medical director in the ER and learning the types of assessments that he does and what he looks for and little things that he has learned through his experience to look for in certain patient populations, like your CHFers or your COPDers, what have you, certain things to look for and how to do that assessment. I had to do time with one of the cardiologists here in town that was a big supporter of the CP program. And with her, she taught me a lot of the same thing. It's assessment skills that they were teaching us or teaching me to use in the field to be their eyes and ears, which is what a paramedic's supposed to be. We're supposed to be the eyes and ears for the physician. So we can let them know this is what we're seeing, so on. And then also had to do ride time with John, and my medical director had me do the majority of ride time with John to get a feel for the job, to learn how to do the paperwork, learn how to do the charting that we did with it on the computer, to just see how he does the job, because he really does a great job. His patients love him. He's a great dude. So again, I'm going to try to get him in here to explain all this, because he's going to be much better at it than I am, because he's actually doing the job. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at with that. Sorry, I got to scratch my nose. So anyway, so we're 46 minutes in. We've had a few questions. That's been a good thing. We've got 4 people in the room right now. Somebody jump in. You know, hey, let's talk about some more stuff. Anybody got any more questions? Well, something I did think about. You know, where I work, we run an EMT course, usually 2 easy for me to say, 2 EMT courses a year, usually one in the spring and one in the fall. And of course, this COVID-19 stuff that's been going on has just completely wrecked that. So I don't know if we're going to be doing that anymore. I was talking to the guy that teaches those classes for us, and I don't know if that's going to be something he's going to do moving forward. But the reason I bring that up is, you know, it's not just, you know, everybody's looking and the news is all talking about, you know, we've got to get the kids back to school. We've got to get the kids back to school. And we do. I totally buy into that. We've got to get the kids back to school. But it's not just the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools and the colleges that have been disrupted. It's also courses like the EMT course, you know. So this is affecting getting new providers, you know, pre-hospital people out into the world. So this is something we've got to get moving on too. You know, we've got to get these people back in these classes so we can have people that want to work on the ambulance, that can make these 911 calls, that can, you know, further their career by going to paramedic school. Can further their career by getting into a SWAT school and learning tactical medicine, or going to a community paramedic program, something of that nature. You know, it's something that we've got to get done. So those of you, I know I've got several viewers of my channel that are trying to get into EMT school, or had just started EMT school, or were brand new EMTs or whatever. Keep plugging away at it. If you're trying to get into school, eventually this stuff will open back up, and, you know, come on into the club. Once you get that card and it's in your pocket, you're part of the brotherhood / sisterhood of EMS, you know. So, and I've had a lot of fun. You know, I started this road in, what was it, 1992, I think, is when I started EMT school, and was done by the end of 92. I was a fall. It takes about one semester, and I was in the fall. I think I started in August, ended in November, and late November, and boards were scheduled in late November as well. And then I got my card in December. So, you know, I've been doing it since 1992. It's been great. It's been a great career. I've had a lot of fun. there's no, I can't think of many other careers that you can get into to where you can have access to all these awesome classes that, and I'm not talking about just the ACLS and PALS and PEP and ITLS and PHCL. I'm not talking about those kinds of classes. I'm talking about the classes that you get to take, like vehicle extrication. I'm talking about high angle rescue classes, low angle rescue classes, your ropes classes. Talking about dive rescue. If you're also a um, oh, we got another question. I knew something popped over here. But there's tons of stuff, and it's a great career to get into if you're an adventurous type person. And there's all kinds of different directions that you can go. You've got the wilderness EMT stuff that is just something that I've always wanted to get involved in. But around here where I am, it's not as big. You get out west, man, it becomes a huge thing. It looks like it'd be really cool to get into and a lot of fun. So another question, how long should you work as a paramedic on the street before considering becoming a SWAT medic? My thing is, where my team is, brand new paramedic. If I've got a brand new paramedic that comes to me and says, "Hey, Stevie, I'd like to get on. I'd like to get on the SOMS team. I'd like to get on the SWAT team, doing tactical medicine with you guys." Well, first thing I'm going to tell them is, okay, cool, outstanding, glad you're interested. Next thing is, be a paramedic for a minimum of 2 years. All right, and that's it. And you'll hear a lot of places say you need to have a high call volume. If you're a paramedic, if you're a brand new paramedic, and for our service, the average runs a day in a 12-hour shift is 6, 7, 8 runs a day. All right. Now you're going to have days where you do 12 or 13 runs, and you're going to have days where you do 4 or 5 runs. But if you're averaging between that 6 and 8 runs a day, that's a pretty good little call volume for 12 hours. That's moving pretty good. Okay. So that would be, I don't like to, I necessarily want to put a number on it because everybody's different. But if you're somewhere and your service is averaging 6 to 8 runs a day in a 12-hour shift, then that's going to get you squared away and get you comfortable with your skills. It's not that, because I'll tell you right now, the new parababies that have come out, the paramedics that have come out now, the brand new ones, they learn so much more than I learned 20 years ago. Okay, there's so much more that they learn. They know a whole lot more than I do, and especially know a whole lot more than I did when I came out of school. So the knowledge is there. I'm not worried about their knowledge. What I'm worried about is their confidence in their ability to do the job on a regular 911 call with that stress. Do they already possess the wherewithal and the confidence of their skills to move into a more stressful environment than what you've got on a regular 911 call? That's where I want them to get comfortable. I want them to be so comfortable doing the job of a paramedic that once they move over to tactical medicine, that they're very comfortable and they can basically start an IV basically on muscle memory alone. Everything else is going on, but they're just focused. They may be having to look over their shoulder, but they're still getting their skills done, and they can still pull that knowledge out that they have in that austere environment. So as far as a timeline for where I am, when I wrote the program, when I created the program here where I work, 2 years. All right, if you're a brand new paramedic, 2 years in our system. Okay, now that's going to be different. If you're at a service that does 24s and you're making 10 runs in 24 hours, but they're high acuity runs, you're only doing 911. That's different. Each jurisdiction has to make their own determination on what that's going to be. But my recommendation is you need to be at least a paramedic for 2 years and comfortable and confident in your skills and knowledge, and not that false bravado stuff that you have right when you come out of school. Okay, I'm talking about you've got a humble attitude. You understand that this job is not about you and it's about the patient. and that you are extraordinarily confident in your skills and your knowledge. Okay, that's what's gonna be looked at when you get with the team. All right, they're gonna look at your attitude. Um, there's not a lot of room for bravado or cockiness. Uh, it's kind of frowned upon. Okay, so in this world, don't tell me how good you are. Show me how good you are. And that's another thing too. There, the last couple of people um, that have been on our team have been people that I've went up to and approached them. Hey, because I've seen something out of them that says, hey, this person's rock solid. Okay, this is somebody that has the potential to be a rock star in the world of EMS. And there have been some people that I've gone up to and said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? And they said, well, yeah, but I'm still new. And, I need to, I need to be a paramedic for a little while. Well, that's the perfect answer. I've got two right now that I've got my eye on at work that have the desire, that have shown the interest, and I've talked to them, and they're putting their time in. And once they get to that magic 2 number, we're going to have another conversation. If it's something they want to do, we'll try to move forward with that. So it's one of those things that it may be not necessarily a time, but maybe somebody's going to come to you and just say, hey, would you like to do this? Would you like to try this out? It's different. It's different skill set. It's whatever. So that's how that would work. But like I said, at our house, 2 years paramedic, get your feet under you, get your feet wet, get comfortable, and then you can start looking into branching out. So, all right, we're 56 minutes. I think looks like we've got 2 people. We've dropped 2 more people. We got up to 4 at one point, so that's good. Personally, we've got 3 more minutes before it's an hour, and I'm going to shut it down at an hour. So I've been rambling. I know. I appreciate those of you that came by. Thank you so much for coming by. We got this first one in the can. I don't know for sure if this will be something that I'll go ahead and post and leave as a public video. We'll see. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. But anyway, the first one's in the can. So to those of you that came by and checked us out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time, even if you were, sitting back kind of snickering and smiling. It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate it. So next time maybe it'll be something. The next one I do, maybe I'll drag Jim Williams in here for an hour-long session on the live stream, and we'll see how that plays out. I guarantee it'll be quite entertaining because you all have seen how Jim and I go back and forth on stuff. So that's always a good time. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to get my wife, she's a nurse practitioner, get her to come in and do a quick interview and, lend some of her expertise, because she's a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge when it comes to things I've talked about with the force health protection. She's really intelligent. So anyway, I don't know if we'll ever get her to come on or not, but we'll try. So anyway, that's pretty much what we've got today. I'm going to go ahead and bow out, I guess. I appreciate you all again for coming by, and we'll do it again. Thank you guys so much. My name is Steve with TacMed TV, telling you guys to stay safe. Bye. Maybe.